Welcome to another edition of the Management System Training videos. In this training video, we're going to be reviewing clocking in and out for your employees and then generated an employee activity report. So there's several different ways they can clock in and out. Right here on the main screen, they can click on the time clock, enter in their ID and their password. It's going to tell us we're clocking in, the date and time we're clocking in. In this case, it would show me the last time I clocked in under this name, which case was never. So I'm going to clock in here. We're going to come back and clock out after a few minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to go to the sales and invoicing screen, enter in my initials again here. We can also program one of these programmable buttons to be a time clock, which we did in this case, where they can just click on here, enter their clock in and stuff again. I can also go down here to the options button, and I can see over here that time clock is an options button there. Also the hotkey is TC, so I could clock in by clicking on the time clock there. I could also just type in TC down here in the bottom. That'll also give me the time clock. So there's multiple ways to clock in and out no matter where you're at in the system. So let's exit out of here, exit again, and we're going to go back here now and we will clock out. Put in my ID, put in my password. This can also be done with fingerprint readers. We can turn a fingerprint reader on to read your fingerprint to clock in and out. It can be done with a barcode that can be generated from within the employee record, so they don't have to type their ID and password. They just scan a barcode if you have a scanner. So once I put my ID and password in, it's going to automatically tell me that I'm clocking out, the date and time. Shows me the last time that I clocked in. And before I clock out here, I can view my clocked in and out times for the last 7 days. And that would depend on when I set up in System Settings Global that the start of the week was. I can also print this right here if I want to. That way the employee doesn't have to come back to you and ask you every time what their hours were for this specific week. So if I go ahead and clock out now, and that would have generated, I can also have it set up so it generates a little piece of paper that prints out on the receipt printer so the employee has a record of it. Now if I go into Management Utilities and go down here to Employee Activity Report, I can put in the date range. So if they're paid weekly, I'd want to put the weekly date range. I can select a specific employee, or if I leave these blank, it will do all employees. I can generate this report in hours and minutes. So for example, if I worked 40 hours and 30 minutes, it would show 40 hours and 30 minutes on the report. If I select decimal hours, it's going to show 40.5 hours on the report. We'll leave it in hours and minutes. I can also leave detail or summary. Detail will show every clock in and out. Summary will just give us a summary total for that employee. Calculate using the start and stop times. These would use the start and stop times that are in the employee record that we can define. That an employee starts, for example, at 8 o'clock, and then if they clock in at 7:45, we wouldn't start calculating their time until the 8 o'clock start time that we designated. I can also include their earnings on the report, which would give us a gross earnings for the period that they printed. I can print this in a 40-column format, which would mean on my receipt printer. I can automatically deduct a half an hour after they've worked 5 hours every day. That way, if I have people clocking or taking a half an hour lunch, it will automatically deduct a half hour out of their time, preventing them having to clock in and out. I could print an individual report for each employee if I wanted to give these reports to the employees as I gave them their paychecks. And I'm going to leave this selected on Preview Report so we can view it on the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and click View Print. It's going to generate the report here. I can maximize this button. I can see that this is the date range, start date and time, end date and time that I designated. And this is the only employee we have, which is John Smith, that I clocked in under. And it shows me that on Friday, 9/23, I clocked in at 4:48 and clocked out at 4:49. If I wanted to print this report, I just simply click on the printer icon. If this was multiple pages, these buttons would be active. I can click to the next page, the last page, go back to the previous page, or to the first page. Okay, I'm just going to press Escape, close that report, and we're going to edit an employee's time record. So I'm going to go back to Management Utilities, go to Employee Maintenance. I'm going to select John Smith, and I'm going to click Edit. And here that I'm in John Smith's record, I can come down here to Time Entries, and I can see all his time entries in here. So let's say that he forgot that and didn't clock in until 4:48 when he realized he hadn't clocked in today at all. I can click on this one, edit it, change his time that he was actually supposed to clock in at 8 o'clock, and he was here at 8 o'clock this morning, and change this to AM, and it was still today's date, and that's when he's clocking in. I can close this. This is going to indicate that this was edited and who's the security level that edited that time clock. I could also delete a time entry here if I needed to, or add a time entry if they forgot to clock in altogether. So now that I've done that, let's close out of here, and we'll quit out of here, and we'll go back and generate that employee activity report again, same date, and we will preview that report. So now I can see that this was edited. There's an asterisk there. This is the person that edited. This start time. His stop time was not edited. That's the actual stop time that he clocked in and out. So clocking in and out is very simple. Generating the report for whatever date range is also simple, and it gives you all the totals right at the end of the report. It'll show everybody's totals for this employee and the employee's totals for the entire period. That's it for clocking in and out, and we will see you on the next training video.